Hello, in this video I'm going to talk about, just make sure we know about how to show negations. So if you want to show negation, not box, what should you do? Well, you should just get box with assume ID, find a contradiction, circle and not circle, and then apply ID to the contradiction, and that will box cancel the show line. So let's just look at some examples of that to make sure we know what's going on. Okay, so here's our first example. Our conclusion is not P, so what should we do? Well, we'll make our assume ID assumption and we'll remove the negation, and then we can bring in our premises. We want to look and see if we can apply inference rules, and we can apply modus ponens with 2 and 3, and that will give us Q. We can also apply modus ponens with 2 and 4, and that will give us not Q, which is a contradiction. So this is just very straightforward. Just when you have a negation in a show line, assume ID, try to get a contradiction. In fact, whenever you assume ID, you want to try to get a contradiction. So let's just look at two more derivations to make sure we've got this. Okay, let's show the conclusion. So this is the negation of a conjunction. Note, it's not a conjunction, right? We're not trying to show P and Q. If it were a conjunction, then it would make sense to try to get P and get Q and then adjoin them, but it's not a conjunction. It's the negation of a conjunction. It's saying the conjunction is false. So that's what we don't want to do. So we'll make an assumption here, and now we have P and Q, and we're going to want to use P and Q. But let's bring in our premises. Okay, so now we want to use P and Q. We're trying to show the negation of a conjunction. That's the show line. We've made an indirect assumption, which means we want to try to get a contradiction with what we have beneath the show line. So we look at line 2 and we say, aha, we have a conjunction. So now we want to use it. And how do you use a conjunction? You apply simplification. And now we want to see if we can use P and Q. And we can. P is the antecedent of line 5, and Q is the antecedent of line 4. And so we have Z and not Z, and that again is a contradiction. So there is our derivation. Good. Let's look at just one more. Okay, so this time we're trying to show the negation of a conditional. Whatever it's the negation of, we make our indirect assumption, and now let's pop in our premises. Well, this is quite easy. Okay. So if you have a negation in the show line, assume ID, and then try to get a contradiction, and then you use this, right? You use this assumption. You're not going to try to show it you're not going to try to you're trying to show this. So this is your assumption, and now you're going to use this. You're going to apply inference rules with it. Previously, in the previous derivation, our assumption gave us a conjunction. Here, the assumption gives us a conditional. So previously, we used the simplification rules. This time, we use modus ponens, because now we have this sentence on a line. Okay, so that's showing negations.